Very warm welcome to the Ref Show. We hope to make it warm, certainly in these climates. And the journey we've all had here into the studio today. I'd like to welcome Carlton Palmer. He's used to this kind of freeze in China these days, aren't you?
Yeah, no, it's cold in China.
Pretty cold there?
Yeah, it's cold.
Is
It's
it
cold.
in Shanghai?
Yeah, it's cold. But got another month and then it'll start brightening up. I'm not so sure it will be the same in England.
Doesn't appear so, does it? And Lancashire's as cold as Yorkshire, it would seem, from Mark Halsey. Let's have a look at the big match action over the weekend. Always there's something new to talk about, like should there have been 2 penalties almost in one incident in the game at Stoke? I'll ask you that. But the big Sunday action and the Craig Pawson game, we seem to be talking about him quite a lot. Newcastle won, Manchester United 0, which was, for starters, was a shock result for most of us. Was it to you, Carlton?
Yeah, it was. I mean, but the United have failed this season against they seem to get up against the big teams, and the teams that they're down the lower end of the division, they seem to slip up against. I think it's just a complacency thing.
Wouldn't have expected that. Obviously, there are key match incidents for Mark to run the rule over. Newcastle denied a penalty. Chris Smalling on Dwight Gayle at 0-0.
Yeah, just going on from what Carlton said, I just thought John Joe Shelby was immense for Newcastle yesterday. I thought he was outstanding. It goes to show what he can do when he puts his mind to it instead of getting on the referee's nerves with his his petulance that goes on. But yeah, I mean, listen, yeah, for me it was a clear penalty. I mean, Smalling definitely brings Gayle down. He goes across him, sticks his leg out, and brings him down. Now, I just don't quite understand Craig's thought process, because he's in a fantastic position, and time and time again this season, for me, Craig has lacked the courage to give the big decisions. And, as I said, we don't want to keep criticising, we want to do it constructively. So I just think, Craig's lost that confidence. And I mean, I think we'll go on to Bobby Madley as well later, but it is sometimes when you lose that confidence, you just need, like players do, they need a bit of loving. A little bit of coaching, a little bit of loving, putting an arm around them, sit them down and go through things with them. And I just think...
Well, one thing you did get right, there was a moment of poetic justice in that game, wasn't there? Just before the winning goal. Now, Smalling again involved. Simulation gets punished and Newcastle score.
Yeah, I mean, it was clear simulation.
No, it was
clear.
It's cheating. I don't know why players do it. I don't know. And the right thing happened as well. I thought Newcastle deserved to win, and I think the right thing. You see, players will stop doing it if they get punished, and they get punished by losing the game as well, which is what happened.
Which doesn't always happen.
No, it doesn't.
It'd be interesting. I mean, for me, I don't think the caution is a deterrent anymore. For simulation. I really do think the IFAB have got to look at the laws of the game, and we need a law change regarding simulation. Like Smalling yesterday, okay? Let's have a law change, and let's have a sending off for clear act of simulation in that situation.
Well, it's stamp it out. It's certainly stamp it out. It's cheating. It's cheating. But the problem is that there's a lot of times now, the players are very clever now. The players are very clever, especially when they're going into the box now and they're putting that ball across them and putting their foot across them. As a defender, you can't do anything about it, right? That for me is still simulation. So where do you draw the line then? It's still they're still trying to con the referee.
But if that happens in the penalty area and the referee gives a penalty, and then it goes to the panel and he gets 2 games, right? He gets 2 games if he's found guilty, two game suspension. So then when they do it outfield, and instead of giving a caution, give the red card, and they still serve the 2-match suspension.
No, I agree with that.
It is erratic,
cheating,
isn't it?
It needs to go.
Other Sunday games, I don't know if there's anything you want to raise from these. Martin Atkinson was in charge of Liverpool's 2-0 win at Southampton, and Michael Oliver, that great Huddersfield win, 4-1 against Bournemouth.
Yeah, tremendous.
Yeah, very good. I mean, two of their top referees, solid performance. So interesting on the Huddersfield penalty. Gosling, although he's already cautioned him, and rightly so. For me, that was a denial of a goal scoring opportunity. He's pushed him in the back. He's gonna have a shot, and he fouls him in the penalty area. He's not made a genuine attempt to play the ball. Had that been 25 minutes earlier, I wonder if the outcome would have been different. Michael would have sent him off. Now, I'm not criticising Michael. Last kick of the game, really. He gets him on the field of play. But it'd been interesting if that had been 25 minutes. I mean, for all the young referees that are watching this show, that was a denial and really should have been...
Shouldn't matter when it is.
Shouldn't matter when it is.
No, but I think he's looked at it and thought, right, the game's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, that doesn't make it right, but...
No. Biggest game of the weekend, No moans, no gripes. Well done, Anthony Taylor. Spurs 1, Arsenal 0.
Yeah, I thought
right?
he refereed the game really, really well. It was a great advert for the Premier. It was exciting. It was, although it was only 1-0.
But I think you have to give credit to the players as well. I thought the players conducting themselves really well as well. Because, for the referee and the linesman, it's a thankless job now. I mean, I know the managers get upset because, their jobs rely on results. And so if they see a decision go against them, rightly so, they're going to get upset. But if players conduct themselves the way Spurs and Arsenal did in a local derby, which is a lot of bragging rights at stake, it's at Wembley. If they can, it makes the referee's job a lot easier.
And Arsene Wenger behaved himself with his comments as well.
I mean, he was happy enough. Was he? I think it was the other players that missed the chances, wasn't it? But like Carlton said, Anthony wasn't fussy. He let a few physical challenges go. He wasn't fussy. He let the game breathe. I would just like to see a bit more consistency in Anthony's performance week in, week out, because we were talking about him last week against Leicester where he missed the challenge and then he missed the offside, he'd switched off. It's not just about refereeing well on the big games, you've got to do it consistently throughout the season, just like the players have to.
Most enjoyable place for a referee to be, Manchester City 5, Leicester 1, Mike Jones. Yeah. Every referee must say, hey, I'll have Manchester City at home especially, or anywhere.
And we're not talking about any poor challenges on them either.
They're a very, very good side. Very good side.
Aguero on fire. Everybody.
I mean, in a side like that, and you're a player, you've got the ability to finish like he has. It's a dream. As long as he stays fit, every game he's guaranteed 2 or 3 goals, isn't he?
Yeah.
Sane out, Silva out.
Yeah. Frightening, isn't it?
Frightening.
Absolutely frightening, really.
But it's the intensity they play at. I mean, what he's done, and it's taken him a while to get it, he's got that intensity that he got Barcelona to play with and that he got Bayern Munich to play with. They play with tremendous intensity. And, if you're fit enough and you can keep that and you can keep that ball retention, it's a problem for any side.
Got to admire the job that Guardiola's doing there.
16 points clear.
Fantastic. Rest of the Premier League, Everton 3, Crystal Palace 1. That was a good response from Big Sam's team, wasn't it, to the previous week. John Moss was in charge at Goodison.
Yeah, no problem.
No problem. We move on with Graham Scott's game, West Ham 2, Watford 0. Was Arnautovic denied a penalty at 0-0? Should he have had a penalty at 0-0 in that game? Just going from the highlights, possibly or not?
I didn't think it was.
You didn't think so?
I didn't think it was.
Well done, Graham Scott, then.
No, I thought on the West Ham Watford game.
Yeah, it was early on in the game.
I was thinking about
it was early on in the game. I didn't think it was.
I think it's one of those where I think, if he'd given it, VAR wouldn't have overturned it. And then he hasn't given it because VAR wouldn't have overturned it. Because it's not a clear and obvious error, isn't it? Yeah, you could argue it was a penalty. Some would say yes, some would say no. So if we're all disagreeing,
if we say it's a penalty, it's got to be clear cut. Yeah. It wasn't clear cut.
No. Now then, Stoke 1, Brighton 1. Now this was talk about late drama. This was Bobby Madley in the middle of this. Charlie Adam, a very late penalty for Stoke. It's parried by the goalkeeper. Then the follow-up, he looks absolutely certain to score. But Lewis Dunk comes hurtling in from behind and scrambles it away somehow. Should that have been another penalty?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I didn't think it was a penalty in the first place.
To start with,
I thought they were.
Harsh.
It was harsh. They were both had their arms up. They had their arms on each other. And as I said, I think he's gone looking for trouble. And I think that goes back to the early one with Shaqiri. Because I thought that was a penalty where he was tripped. Yeah. And he didn't give that one. So perhaps he was, the players have been in his ear and you've got to be mentally strong. And perhaps they've been chirping away at him and perhaps he's given that one.
It was soft though,
it was. I didn't think it was, but having it saved, Charlie Adams had it saved, and I think then the follow-up was a penalty because he hasn't got the ball. He's just wiped him out. He's wiped him out. But
and that late in the game as well. You'll do that as a player. Big Ron used to say to me all the time, "Don't do it early doors because you still got time
Nothing
in the game."
to lose.
But a minute to go, 2 minutes to go, you take especially when you've got a chance, winning the game or a chance of getting a point. Like for Brighton, that point could keep them up.
That's a terrific point for them in the end, wasn't it?
It is, but having given that soft one, I'm not sure he ain't going to give that one, is he?
No.
Brighton go ballistic. But once again, with Bobby, he's just suffering this, severe lack of confidence. You can tell it in his body language, the way he's refereeing and his decision making. And once again, he just needs a little bit of loving, tender care, does Bobby.
We've got the Championship and some big derbies as well at that level to review in part 2 of the Ref Show. I'm sure you'll join us for that. But just with 40 seconds left of part 1, VAR around the world continues to create Negative headlines. There was a wait for a penalty to be taken for 3 minutes already.
3 minutes, and then in the end, I think they've given offside out on the wing. It should not be taking that long.
And somewhere else, there was a clear penalty that the VAR decided wasn't a penalty in one game.
No, that was the one in Italy.
That
was in Italy, yeah, Juventus, yeah. You give the offside. I mean, 3 minutes, and then he's changed it.
I'm not a fan of it.
And neither am I. Well, with my fans.
Well, from what I understand, is that the Premier League are like that, whether they bring it in.
They're like that,
yeah,
aren't they?
They're
Right.
like that, yeah.
Well, maybe a follow up on that in part 2. Do rejoin us for that.